The Jacksonville Jaguars were 3-1 at home, hosting the defending AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football. The Chiefs entered this game at 2-2, and despite an inferior record, the Chiefs were still favorites for obvious reasons. They have the championship pedigree, they've been the more accomplished team. Jacksonville's coming into this game with a rookie head coach against Andy Reid. The head coaching matchup is heavily one-sided in Kansas City's favor, and of course Kansas City has Patrick Mahomes. But in this game in particular, I thought this was a really good measuring stick to see how Liam Cohen's team could stand with one of the more elite teams, at least historically, in the conference. Things started off really well for Kansas City. They started off hot. They scored 2 touchdowns in their first 3 drives, where they seemed to be really gelling, especially once the speedster Xavier Worthy got back into the lineup. They jumped out to a 14-0 lead, and Mahomes once again seemed to don the Superman cape, carrying them, dancing in the pocket until a receiver broke free downfield, or took it in himself, scrambling up the field for demoralizing rushing touchdowns. The Chiefs were in firm control, but once the Jags finally got a stop, their offense kind of got cooking after 2 punts and getting stopped on 4th and goal at the 1-yard line. Trevor Lawrence engineered a touchdown drive assisted by a huge gain by Travis Hunter, who I think now is slowly making an impact as a 2-way player in the NFL. But that touchdown did help the Jags cut the deficit in half before the intermission. Their defense began to get consistent stops in the second half, leading to an equalizing touchdown run by Trevor Lawrence to knot it up at 14-all. But then Mahomes seemed poised to lead the Chiefs into the red zone for the go-ahead score, and their momentum flipped when Mahomes threw an interception to Devin Lloyd, who was able to navigate through traffic and return it 99 yards to give Jacksonville their first lead of the game. Jacksonville did get a quick stop and had a chance to further extend their lead, but a controversial missed DPI led to a Chiefs interception by Trent McDuffie and set the Chiefs up well within Jacksonville territory, where they ended up knotting things up at 21. Now, trailing 24-21 after a Jacksonville field goal, Mahomes once again leads a touchdown drive, forcing the Jaguars to drive the length of the field with under 2 minutes remaining. After taking a bad sack, Trevor Lawrence finds Brian Thomas Jr. on a perfect pass on 3rd and 7 to set them up on the edge of the red zone. Later, he finds Diami Brown to set them up at the 11-yard line, and finds Brian Thomas Jr. drawing a DPI in the end zone to set them up with 1st and goal at the 1-yard line. With no timeouts and just 23 seconds left, the Jags had to be careful, and we saw the most chaotic sequence transpire. Trevor Lawrence gets stepped on by his offensive lineman and has to navigate Chiefs defensive lineman bearing down on him. He stumbles once again, breaks a tackle, and finds a way to dive into the end zone for the go-ahead score. I think some people in Duval are calling it the Trip 6, but really funny sequence nonetheless. Very entertaining football, and I thought the play itself was Trevor Lawrence's career in a microcosm. You get the ups and the downs, but then you see that potential actually pater in a touchdown. And that did result in the game-winning score. The Jags are now 4-1, keeping pace with the Colts, who are another upstart story in the AFC, as it sounds like the AFC South is turning into one of the more competitive divisions in the conference. I thought this was probably the biggest win in Trevor Lawrence's career. He showed a lot of poise despite a lot of ups and downs, and so far with what Liam Cohen is doing, his impacts with the team as a whole, aiding Trevor Lawrence and kind of trying to nip the mistakes, I'm seeing a lot of impacts here, especially on offense. And briefly to talk about the defense, I mean, let's talk about how good Devin Lloyd is playing. I mean, this guy is in a contract year. I thought he was a pretty good linebacker coming out of Utah in college, but it's been kind of a tumultuous start to his career. But Anthony Campanelli has found a way to really maximize his skill sets and really figure out how can he use Devin Lloyd to his benefit. And we've so far seen Devin Lloyd be the defensive player of the month in the AFC to start off the season, and he's been able to continue that success into October with another interception. And currently, with the addition of this pick 6 against Patrick Mahomes, Devin Lloyd as a linebacker leads the league in interceptions. And now the Jags defense as a whole, this adds to their total, which leads the league in total turnovers forced with 14. Right now, at 4-1, I think the Jags are very underrated. I think they're still going to be faced with a lot of tests. They have to go to London very soon to play the Los Angeles Rams, and that's going to be a big test. But once that kind of comes through, I'm going to be really excited to see how the Jags continue to develop, especially with Liam Cohen leading this franchise. The Kansas City Chiefs stand at 2-3, and this is only the second time they've had this record in the Patrick Mahomes era. After going 11-0 in one-score games just last season, this season they are now 0-3. The offense, once again, I think we're finding its form. The reintroduction to Xavier Worthy into this offense is helping out a ton. It's taking the top off the defense. You have Tyquan Thornton, who's another deep threat as well. I'm seeing Mahomes continuing to be this Houdini in the pocket, a magician of sorts, having these amazing scrambles, whether it's buying time to find a receiver or running him himself. But I do think these hits at the end of the day are going to add up. He's only taken 7 sacks. That's not a lot through 5 games, but he is getting tackled, hits in the pocket, whether it's through pass rushers or on these scrambles, and they are going to pile up. He just turned 30, and he has been playing now, I think, 8 years in the NFL. I think he's a fairly durable player. He does have a lot of strength, especially in his lower body. He's a very tough man to bring down, but I do have concerns of how sustainable is this offense going to be with Patrick Mahomes continually having to carry this team. I do like how things are kind of opening up with the run game. You're seeing Travis Kelce get more and more involved. He had a touchdown in this very game. It's still concerning on offense because sometimes you do see him go cold, just like we saw the Chiefs did from the middle of the second quarter into the third quarter, where the Jags were able to get back into this game. Their defense, I thought, did get a little bit gassed, especially in the second half once things were kind of getting back into the Chiefs' favor, but especially on the game-winning drive, they did look a little discombobulated. I saw breakdowns in coverage after a pretty good negative play where Trevor Lawrence gets sacked. Next play, you give up a huge 33-yard pass to Brian Thomas. Again, great coverage, but you just got to find a way to locate the ball and deflect it, and then you're faced with a 4th down, basically game over. And then going to the DPI at the end zone, I mean, they've been getting away with a lot of handsy coverage all game long, and now they just get caught at the most inopportune time. Bad execution there. I think Spagnuolo did call a pretty good game. He did force 2 turnovers out of Trevor Lawrence and a red zone stop. But I do think at times this defense had some missed opportunities where on that chaotic sequence where Trevor Lawrence stumbles, you're seeing Chris Jones just kind of sit back and be a spectator on this play, not even trying to prevent Trevor Lawrence from scoring that go-ahead touchdown. And it's a concerns over effort, whether he's gassed, whether he's showing signs of age. The Chiefs defense is not quite the same as what we used to see either, and it's going to be interesting to see how this tale is going to continue to unfold this season. Talk about Harrison Butker, America's favorite kicker. He is raising some concerns because I'm seeing through 4 weeks there's a missed kick that is kind of crucial, whether it's a missed field goal or a missed extra point. We are starting to see these happen more and more. He has 3 missed kicks already this season, when last year he had just 4 throughout the entirety of the season. Now with this latest gaffe being a kick out of bounds, setting up the Jags with a shorter field, knowing that they still have to drive the length of the field, but it makes it all the more easier starting at your own 40 compared to maybe your 20 or 25 yard line. These are just signs to point that Harrison Butker's decline seems more and more imminent, and if his struggles continue, I think a change might need to be made for the Kansas City Chiefs. But with a 2-3 record right now, It's not the best of starts, and the Lions are now coming into town sporting the league's hottest offense. It's going to be concerning to see what they can do, because the last time they played them, the Lions were babies at that time. Now they're confident. They've gone on this epic run the last couple of years. They were 15-2. Now they're starting off the season 4-1. Their offense is picking up right where they left off. Their defense is looking better than ever. If they end up beating the Chiefs in Arrowhead on Sunday night, the Chiefs could end up 2-4 to start this season, and they could be faced with an even bigger hole through the first 6 weeks of this season.